Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. Today we are taking a look at the RadioMaster's TX8. It is a Deviation software equipped upgraded transmitter to the jumper T8SG. Now RadioMaster is a subsidiary of Hobby Porter, whom were partners with Jumper TX. They have now mutually decided to part ways due to different ideas of the future. Now the RadioMaster line of products are now manufactured in Hobby Porter's own facility to better control quality and reliability, and they will be working directly with OpenTX and the multi-module team for official software. The RadioMaster TX8 internals are basically identical to the new jumper T8SG with the Hall sensor gimbals and the jumper T8SG V2 Plus carbon fiber edition, and also the jumper T8SG V2 Plus OLED display edition. Now, I don't have the carbon fiber edition to compare or the new T8SG Hall sensor gimbal edition to compare, but the TX8 is identical to those two editions, especially the T8SG Hall Sensor Gimbal edition. As a matter of fact, Banggood has a listing with both names in the title of the same product. Now, the carbon fiber edition, as far as I can tell, is different in only the front cover plate. Everything else is identically the same. Okay, so here it is side by side to compare with the jumper T8SG V2 Plus OLED display screen edition. So as you can see right off the bat, we have a different color face plate and slightly different design on the face plate itself, but everything else is identically the same, and also the display screen. Now the same size display screen, but the TX8 has an LCD display, whereas the jumper T8SG V2 Plus has an OLED display. Now, I personally do not like the OLED display due to the difficulty viewing the screen in bright sunlight. So I much prefer the LCD display here. Side view, identically the same, and the battery bay, identically the same. Now on the TX8, we now have some protruding finger grips in the rear, whereas the T8SG V2 Plus did not come with any of these protrusions. I had to put my own foam pad for finger grips. And also now on the top, we have a USB-C port for faster data transfer versus the old, in my opinion, outdated mini USB port on the jumper T8SG V2 Plus. So here is a side-by-side comparison with the jumper T12. Now the main difference in the front is the display screen. Both LCD display screen, but the TX8 has a bigger 2.5-inch display screen versus a 2-inch display screen for the T12. Side view, basically the same. Now the battery bay is basically the same as you saw this one earlier, but the T12 has a micro SD card slot. If you can see it right there, I have an SD card already inserted in here. Now in the rear, we have finger grips, but smaller on the T12. So the T12 does not have an internal radio. So it is using an external module, the JP4-in-1 multi-protocol module. So the T12 is running the OpenTX software and an external multi-protocol module. So that is why it has an SD card slot. So you can install the SD card contents like the firmware, images, scripts, and sounds, just like any other OpenTX radios. Whereas the TX8 has the Deviation software and an internal radio with the same but built-in 4-in-1 multi-protocol RF module, which will allow you to bind to most major protocols such as DSM2, DSMX, Walkera, J6 Pro, FlySky, Futaba, FlySky, AFHDS 2A, Hubsan, Sima, Beitian Toys, and many more. So taking a closer look at the TX8, we have the 2 dBi antenna. It is just a stick antenna, foldable and rotatable. We have a stainless steel handle in the back. We've got two two-way switches, one on the left shoulder, one on the right shoulder. And we have 4 three-way switches. We have a rotary dial on the right side and also a rotary dial on the left side marked auxiliary 4 and auxiliary 5. We got the power switch here. Hold it down for a couple seconds, it powers up. And we have the power indicator light in red, and also we have the RF indicator light in green. We have trim buttons, also have a neck strap attachment, and this here will be the confirmation key. We have the exit key, and we also have menu directional keys. It has a 128 by 64 pixel resolution 2.5-inch LCD display, which is bright enough even in bright sunlight. It has Hall sensor gimbals. They are smooth and a bit loose right out of the box. They can be adjusted by opening up the rear cover and tightening up the tensioners. Firmwares are easily upgradable via the USB-C port, and it also has a simulator port as well. The antenna is detachable for easy modification, so you just unscrew it, and if you want to use a bigger size antenna, you are able to do so. And you are also able to use a booster like this 2-watt booster as well. But this transmitter has an output power of up to 150 milliwatts, so it has very, very good range. You can set up to 12 channels depending on the receiver that you are using, and it supports external modules like the JR FlySky compatible modules. It comes with a battery tray that can take 2 18650 batteries, but batteries are not included, or you can use just any 2-cell LiPo battery that can fit inside of the battery bay. Although the input voltage is between 4.5 volts and 18 volts, a 2S battery is recommended. So whether you are using the battery tray with 2 18650 batteries or a LiPo battery, just connect the 2S balance connector to the 2S balance port to power up the transmitter. So taking a quick look at the Deviation software interface, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run right through them, since the Deviation software interface is the same exact software interface as the very first T8SG transmitter, and there are a lot of videos out there explaining how to use that interface. So what I'll do is I'll leave links to those videos in the description down below. So here's the main screen. I'm going to hit confirmation button, and it'll take you into the main menu where there's the model menu, transmitter menu, USB menu, and about deviation. And going into the model menu, there's the model setup, mixer, timers, telemetry configuration, trims, data log, main page configuration, voice configuration. And going into the model setup, you can go ahead and load up the models that you have previously set up. And in my case, I have the FlySky model, which is the D8 protocol. FlySky X is the D16 protocol. and I have the AFHDS 2A for FlySky. Now, FlySky X is marked unsaved because I am within that model at the moment. So if I were to change to the FlySky model and hit enter and go back to load, as you can see, the model that I am within is marked unsaved because you are able to change parameters while you are within that model. So in the model setup, you can load, you can change the model name, you can change the icon, model type, and here you can change the TX output power. At the moment, I have it set to 150 milliwatts, but you can go back down to 100, 30 milliwatts, 10 milliwatts, 3 milliwatts, 1 milliwatt, and 300 microwatt, and all the way down to 100 microwatt, and go back all the way up to 100 milliwatt. Next is ppm in, and here's the model. You scroll to the left or to the right to find the right model protocol. Right now it is set to FlySky. You can go to all of these models because we are using the 4-in-1 multi-protocol RF module within this radio. So you have so many models to choose from. So you can just about bind this thing to anything out there. And next is the bind key and the fixed ID number and the amount of channels and the mixer GUI, which is set to advanced by default. So to bind a quadcopter to this transmitter, you will have to first identify the protocol of your receiver. And in this case, I have my Dragonfly Y-copter with a FlySky DA protocol receiver conveniently located right on the top of the frame. And next, you will need to choose the correct protocol. And in this case, it is the FlySky protocol, which is the D8 receiver protocol, not the FlySky V8, nor the FlySky X. It is the FlySky protocol. Place it on the bind key, and we need to power up the quadcopter while holding the bind button on the receiver, which will put the receiver in a binding mode. Holding down the bind button, powering up the quadcopter. Now the receiver is showing a solid green light. So I'm going to go ahead and enter or press the confirmation key to bind. And the light on the receiver has turned off. So I'm going to go ahead and power off the quadcopter. Exit out from the binding process and power up the quadcopter once again. Okay, solid green light. So let's test it out. There you go, successful bind. Okay, so I've done the same thing to my Emax Tiny Hawk 2 using the same procedure. And since this one also has the FlySky DA protocol receiver, I've used the same protocol, the FlySky protocol. And I also went ahead and bound my Eachine Tyro 129, and this one has the FlySky XM Plus receiver. So I had to use the FlySky X protocol instead of the FlySky protocol, and I have made a model according to it as well. So let's go and check out and see if I can fly all three of these guys with the same transmitter. All right, here we go. This is the Emax Tiny Hawk 2. And I've been flying the Emax Tiny Hawk 2 with another jumper remote, so it feels right at home with the TX8 transmitter as well. Very nice. Okay, here we go with the Eachine Tyro 129. A little bit windy outdoors. I didn't want to do this inside of the garage since this is a huge quadcopter. So you can fly the smallest of the quadcopters as well as one of the biggest of the quadcopters as well with the same transmitter. And here back in the garage with the Dragonfly Y copter. This is such a cool quadcopter. And it flies great too. It just wobbles in the rear when you make turns. But other than that, it is a terrific flyer. And it feels very nice with the TX8 transmitter. The RadioMaster's TX8 is a great transmitter for beginners as well as experienced pilots. It is able to bind to most protocol receivers, hobby grade as well as toy grade. And if you are flying a multi-rotor quad racer, you really don't need a complicated transmitter with a bunch of knobs, so long as it has enough switches for activating the basic stuff like arming, modes, the buzzer, flip after crash, and GPS return to home, and stuff like that. That is all you really need. And the price is also very attractive compared to other more expensive transmitters which are not multi-protocol. There is, however, one downside to this transmitter, and that is its size. It may be a little bit too small for some of you with big hands. That's when you should consider the TX8S. It is a full-size transmitter made by RadioMaster also. Review on this one coming soon. So that'll do it for now for this video of the Hobby Porter's RadioMaster TX8, the multi-protocol transmitter. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you again next time.